Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video review. This time we have the Avengers Legends Infinite Series Marvel Now Ironman from the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure wave. So yeah, overall just going over the package, standard package of a normal Marvel Legends figure. I like on this wave we do have the pictures of the characters on the side there. Although this looks a little bit more like a generic Iron Man picture rather than a specific Marvel Now. I wish they would show them from the front where you can really see some of the differences as far as all the red dots and things like that. We've got the wave on the back here. This wave I didn't have to hunt for in stores. I did just buy a full case on Hasbro.com, which came with everybody, of course, and 2 war machines. So I was able to build the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure. As you can see, there's the Marvel Now Iron Man war machine from the movie, Blizzard, Doctor Strange, Vision, Valkyrie, and man, I can never remember her name, and it is Thundra. That's right. I had to look at the box there. So yeah, overall, this wave is a little bit of hit or miss, in my opinion. And I think that that's mainly to do with the fact of cost cutting on this wave to give us a massive and the fantastic Build-A-Figure of Hulkbuster. So unfortunately, to give us such a big and awesome figure, they did have to cut back on some of the regular figures in this wave, unfortunately. And none other is this more evident than with this figure, the Marvel Now Iron Man, in my opinion. So overall, this figure I had no interest in whatsoever. I really could care less about the figure. I definitely didn't want it, but I knew I'd have to buy it because I was definitely going to build Hulkbuster. So this was definitely one I had to get, although not one I was excited to get, unfortunately. Overall, it is just a repaint of a old figure. It's the Mark IV, I believe, from the movie series of Iron Man that came out a long time ago. I believe for Iron Man 2, they did have a Mark IV. Might have been like a Walmart exclusive. I know there was a Mark V that was a Walmart exclusive. That was a figure that I never got, but I did get the Mark VI from like the same series, so that's basically the same thing. So basically it's a repaint of this with a different chest plate. And then this one does have a different hand, although I believe that the Mark IV did actually come with that hand. Actually, you know what? This armor actually came with that hand too, but he had multiple interchangeable hands. So yeah. So overall, the armor itself, like for the Mark IV, was very nice, especially back in the day. You know, the articulation is pretty good for back then, in like 2010 when this came out. So that is very nice. They did bring it back though as a comic armor, which I find extremely disappointing. You know, it might meet some of the you know, expectations that this armor has just based on its design, although it just doesn't fit on a comic shelf, in my opinion. I really don't like this because I can't put it on my Marvel shelf or on my comic Marvel collection or my movie Marvel collection, because I feel like it just doesn't fit into either of them. So right now I kind of have them like on the border of my comic and Marvel and movie Marvel collection, so that basically, you know, whatever you're looking at, you know, you can kind of see him with the Marvel or the comic. That's just personally where I decided to put him to kind of fix that problem. But that is unfortunate. Overall, I think that the armor, I've looked it up, and it's a pretty interesting looking armor in the comics. I wish that they would have just given us a new designed armor or repainted a comic one instead of doing a movie one. Overall, though, the paint is really nice. That's one place where this is quite good. The black is very deep. It looks nice, and it's kind of it's got a shine to it, which is well done. It's got a gold that's quite metallic, and it's metallic throughout. It's sometimes with a metallic paint. You know, they metallic it in some areas, but then like there will be some areas where it's just like a flat gold and not metallic. Although with this armor, they did seem to give it give the gold a full metallic shine to it throughout the actual figure. We turn it to the back, and this can be quite an alarming sight. It almost looks like the Ultron Build-A-Figure, where they just neglected to paint the back whatsoever. However, though, this is accurate to the comics. So when I first saw that, I did kind of start to freak out, but apparently it is accurate to the comics, so I'm not too not upset about that, of course. But for a second, I was worrying that that would become a trend of Hasbro. Overall, the red dots, which seem to be one of the unique features of this Iron Man armor, are kind of placed around him. We've got shoulder, got one at the bottom of the wrist, and then one at the arm plate or the hand plate. Obviously the reactor is red, and then his eyes are yellow with outlined in red, which I think looks quite good. And then you've got a dot down here. In the original costume, he does like have some dots up here on the chest pieces, like kind of on the top of them. I believe some more on the legs too, so I would have liked some more of those red dots throughout the armor, as well as they are just painted on. They're not actually sculpted. I would actually like sculpted domes to be painted on. That would be really nice. But again, this is basically a cost-cutting figure for the wave to give us a oversized Build-A-Figure. Overall, articulation is good for the standard of 2010 when this was made. He's got a ball-jointed neck, looks down a bit when you're centered. When you want to turn his head, though, it does kind of have the sideways type of look, but overall, it is pretty nice. Ball-jointed upper torso. Pretty well articulated there. Ball hinge shoulders with a bicep swivel, double hinge elbows with a hinge swivel wrist. They can really just hinge down. It can hinge a bit up, but not much. On this side, though, however, the plating is kind of pointed up more so that you can give him more of a repulsor kind of blast going on with this arm there. He's got ball jointed thighs with a bicep swivel, double hinge knees, and a hinge swiveling ankle. It doesn't seem to pivot, and the armor does hinder it in most cases, but it does still maintain a little bit of articulation. One of the things that's really disappointing about this figure, there's actually two things, like kind of quality control issues, are that the knees sometimes seem a bit loose, and then the ankles are a bit loose sometimes. So sometimes it's a bit hard to get him to stand and not have him fall, unfortunately, especially if you have him in any sort of dynamic pose. The shoulder platings right here, as you can see, do tend to pop off because they're on just a really weak kind of hinge there that just, you can pop it back in pretty easily, and it does have a hinge, which is a great idea to allow you to move the arm up free from the restriction of the shoulder pads, but it is quite a weak kind of joint, and they do seem to pop off quite easily, so that's a rather annoying feature of this armor. Overall, this is definitely an armor that was that came out in order to save money for the Build-A-Figure. It's clear by the figure, being a really old sculpt, repainting it, in a very slight repaint, especially picking an armor that doesn't have any paint on his back too. That's another indication of that. Overall, it's a figure that I would not recommend to anybody who's a big Iron Man fan. I would say that this is only for people who really specifically love the Marvel Now Iron Man suit, or for anybody who's building the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure, because obviously you're going to need the Build-A-Figure in order to buy, you're going to need this figure in order to complete the Build-A-Figure. So overall, I wouldn't recommend this to any casual Marvel Legends fans, because it's not even like a comic book type of look, considering it does have a movie vibe going on, because it is a repaint of a movie armor. One cool thing about this figure, though, is he does come with the leg of Hulkbuster, and the leg is so big and so heavy that it's actually much heavier than the actual figure, so the box feels really heavy. It feels like you're getting something really good in it, and just getting the leg out for the first time is so cool, so that's just a little plus with this figure, and it doesn't even really have to do with this figure. But yeah, overall, that's my review of the Avengers Marvel Legends Infinite Series Marvel Now Iron Man. Thanks so much for watching.